one of the arguments that really concerned me from Mr. McDonald's side was the argument that you don't even need a Second Amendment, that these rights to have guns and have them pretty much any place should be allowed. That's an argument that the court rejected in the Heller case. That's an argument that I believe the court's going to reject in their decision here in the McDonald case. Again, reasonable restrictions to protect the people in their cities, something that elected officials have had a responsibility for in this country for over 220 years, is something that that hopefully the Supreme Court will uphold. With that, happy to take some questions.
This case be used as leverage to go after what you're calling reasonable restrictions imposed by states and localities.
One of the things that's going to happen if Chicago loses here is that you're going to see every gun criminal in this country start to argue that the Second Amendment gives him a right to get either a better deal from the prosecutor or to get out of the charge altogether because he, the gun criminal, has a right to use that gun, have that gun to defend his drug deals gone bad, whatever. Those are the sorts of things that have happened since the Heller case 2 years ago. There have been 190 cases where people in the federal system have tried to argue a Second Amendment right to use their guns, and that makes it a lot harder for prosecutors and the criminal justice system to work. Those are the main people that are going to benefit from that. Those in the gun manufacturers and the gun distributors and the people that make money out of selling guns will also benefit from this. But that's again why I think the crucial thing here is to have the court endorse reasonable restrictions, perhaps short of the total gun ban that they looked at in D.C. and that apparently they're considering Chicago to have. I think once the court makes it clear that the core of the Second Amendment is just that gun in the home for self-defense, that anything else beyond gun in the home for self-defense is something that states and cities can regulate, then I think we will continue to have reasonable restrictions, and I think we'll be able to continue to do things to make our cities safer.
Given the increase in sort of loosening gun laws that's happening across the country, do you see that happening, states coming in and
Right now, there aren't that many gun laws in the country. At the national level, there's very few, and at the state level, there's very few. The Brady Center just released our state scorecards a couple weeks ago. On a 100-point scale, we only had 10 states that had more than 10 points, I think it was. It's the states right now do a lousy job. And what the gun lobby, what the gun pushers are trying to do is to get even more guns into more places. And that's one of the reasons they want to have the Second Amendment incorporated to the states and locals, so they can then convince elected officials that they're not allowed to make any restrictions. Justice Scalia made it very clear in the Heller decision, and Justice Scalia made it very clear again today, that reasonable restrictions outside a gun in your home for self-defense are presumptively lawful and are presumably going to be part of this new McDonald decision. That's the sort of thing that the Brady Center is concerned about. That's the thing that people that are concerned about gun violence across the country are concerned about. The only two cities that went as far as a ban or a near ban were big cities were Washington, D.C. and Chicago. This decision, outside of affecting Chicago, won't really affect regulations that other states and other cities have done. It will make it easier again for criminal defendants to argue that they should get off the hook. It'll make it easier for people to sell guns and convince elected officials that they ought to be loosening the few laws that are on the books, though. Other questions?
name and title?
I'm Paul Helmke, H-E-L-M-K-E. I'm president of the Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence. We're the largest nonpartisan group in the country that works to fight gun violence. We work with our Million Mile March chapters across the country. And we did file a brief in this case, technically a neutral brief asking the court to reinforce the reasonable regulation standard that they adopted in the Heller case 2 years ago. And again, we're very encouraged from the questioning from the bench, particularly from Justice Scalia, that reasonable regulations will be a part of the decision in the McDonald case when it comes down.